So I guess it's important for me to start maybe with the first trip that I took to China back in 2003. Similar to the World Trade Association, we belong to a national trade association for metalworking, and they put together a trade mission back in 2003, which I was one of 60 people that went on that trade mission. I believe it was 45 or 50 companies, and the companies were all very similar to ours. We're a family business. I'm third generation, predominantly in the metalworking field. But the idea was of the trade mission was to go to China to see companies, and we started out with very old and sort of antiquated companies, and every day the companies got a little better and better to a point where, the first night sitting around the bar, we all were saying to each other, like, we don't have anything to worry about. This is all good. And then by this third or fourth night, we're all looking at each other with sort of a different stare. But the evenings were filled with laughter and cultural experiences. The Chinese companies, the leadership of those companies that we had visited during the day joined us for their typical traditional Chinese meals. And that was a real taste of the culture. And I think that's a big part of the trade mission at that time. And it goes to Gary's point about how valuable that ability to go back and forth and visit, our countries and to see really what's going on. Because you can get on the news, you can read, but nothing is going to, give you that experience like a face-to-face meeting. The relationships that we built 10, 20 years ago are not going to change. I think it's really, really difficult to develop and build new relationships, but to maintain the relationships that we have. I mean, I've tallied about 50 some trips over the years. And, it's difficult. My general manager in our plant over there says, you're not going to recognize the place when you get here. Our business strategy is really focused on the customer, focused on, what is it that the customer wants. And we had a lot of customers back in the 90s and the early 2000s basically saying, we need to have a spend of, north of 50% in low cost regions. And, this was a decision that we had to make. We did realize shortly thereafter that a lot of our customers had gone to China and set up companies. And we lost business here in the United States as a result of it. So we followed our customers to China, and that's what expanded our business. So the things that I think we all are in front of us today, if that was the case back then, we probably wouldn't be in China. I'll leave you with that. Yeah, I mean, I really do believe that it would be difficult, So, I mean, on a local level, the Chinese government's, open arms welcoming, foreign investment. They realized, I think, in order to get their, low class to a middle class, they needed to do it on the back of foreign investment, and that's evident. I mean, it's a huge. But along with that, comes these companies that realize they need to be where the market is, and there's very few products that are growing faster than they are in Asia around the rest of the world. So that's the reason to be there. That's why we're there. We're serving our customers, and through that, the business to business relationships, you can have the same thing. Both sides can win. Where I think on the political landscape, we're both after the same thing, so it's more contentious. Our business model changed here in the U.S. So we were actually able to grow our business. So we turned and pivoted our business more towards regulated industries, things that had to be made in the United States versus industrial products that could be made anywhere. So that was a business decision that we made. So then we stick to regulated industries here and parts that are marketed with the Made in USA tag on them, and that's all we'll manufacture now here in the States. So it has actually stabilized our business to a point, and then now it's growing. I mean, our business is growing about 20 to 30% overall this year, because we're also a global company that can support our customers' needs, and we have a very, very good staff and very experienced a global workforce here that can make decisions. The freight and logistics as an example. We've developed sourcing in India and Vietnam long before the pandemic and the tariffs. So, we can flex into those regions as a result. But China's still, even with the tariff, in some cases, still competitive. They've got very mature supply chains, and they have know-how that's not easily replaced. Yeah, well, I really hope by the end of the year, we'll see how things develop. Risk mitigation is part of our business strategy. Ever since we went global, we realized that we needed to have that as part of it. So, China in and itself, I think the relationships there are really, really strong. And I really don't see, let's just say, a couple of administrations, tearing that up. You know, it's just much deeper than that. China looks at things in much larger time periods. We tend to look at things, based on elections every 2 to 4 years, I think. I just think they're looking past that. I think is the way I run my business too. We have a short term and a long term, a medium term and a long term plan, and that long term plan is out 10, 15 years. So I don't see our company not dealing with China in 10 to 15 years. So I certainly hope, because of how much we rely on them and how much they rely on us. That's a very small graph, a point on the graph here from a small company, but I do believe that's something that we should be looking at. So I'll just end with that. I will say that I do miss China. It's not just going as a chore. I miss the culture. I miss the people, and believe it or not, I miss the food. So I've learned how to cook some of their dishes at home just so I could get the real Chinese food. So